Hi guys, going to give you guys a chance to latch on. I don't have long. I have exactly 30 minutes. It's basically 6 p.m. in the UK. No, 5:30 p.m. in the UK. So I don't have long. So the name's Louis. It's Defending Elvis Presley. Fans want the truth. And we had a very interesting day today. We did a 2.5 hour long live stream, which was pretty intense, I would say. Hi, Gio. I've just popped on quickly. I've got half an hour. I wanted to go through some of the comments from the live stream today. So hope you're well, my friend. So Angel Eyes, hi. Jane, hi. So because I've only got half an hour, it doesn't really give people a chance really to pop on, because it does take about 20 minutes for you guys to realize I'm live. I have posted it on the Defending Elvis. Hi, Tamara. So let me just go back onto the Defending Elvis chat. So in case you don't know, guys, you got Defending Elvis Presley Facebook page, which has a 24-hour chat. And that tends to be where I let people know that we're going live. So let's have a look. I wanted to play my short video about the salt, the salt pills that Elvis allegedly took. And I thought that would just give you guys a chance to quickly jump on. Hi, David. You okay, my friend? Well, it's only a short one, unfortunately. I've just been on Angie's Tea and Tarot. Had a nice chat there. Quite a few of Team Elvis were on there, which we like. So let's have a look. Actually, do you know what? I'm not going to play the salt tablet thing. I'm going to play the video that I put together yesterday, which is 10 shorts. I actually did 2 lots. I did 1 lot of 6 shorts and 1 lot of 10. So which one are we going to play? We'll play the 6 shorts first. See how many of you guys can quickly jump on. And then I'm going to read some of your comments. So it is just a quick live, but I think you'll enjoy these shorts. Now I did these shorts well over a year ago. So hopefully you're going to enjoy them. You may have seen some of them before. I'm very proud of my shorts, but you must remember when I made these, I wasn't doing Defending Elvis. So I had a different point of view. I didn't know the harm, the damage, the amount of wrongdoing that Priscilla had done. So you may see me being a bit supportive of Priscilla in these clips, because I just didn't know, guys. It was you guys that taught me the wrongdoing of Priscilla, so that I could then move on to defend Elvis. So let's just have a little watch whilst a few more of you latch on.
But after I get out of the movie, he said, I'll come back up here and see you and all. She said, no. I said, that's okay. He said, you just go on home and get some rest. And the phone kept ringing downstairs. I got up and I run downstairs and I get it, and it's Vernon on the phone. You need to tell Elvis, and that's as far as he got. He was sobbing. The nurse took the phone, and she said, you need to tell Mr. Presley that his mother's taking a turn for the worse and needs to get up here. So I said, look, the nurse called and said, you need to come up here because your mama's gotten a little sicker. And he just threw some shoes on, no socks. He didn't waste time. He didn't stop for red lights. When he got upstairs, all he had to do is he made around the nurse's desk, and there was a long corridor. And when he made that turn, his daddy was standing outside, and that was it. When they saw each other, he knew. They just ran to each other and embraced each other. Boy, that was one of the most pitiful things you'll ever see.
Too sad. Next one.
The relationship with Elvis depended very much on how his career was going. That's true. He would just have low points, and when he had low points, there was nothing that could get him out of it. And I feel that's another reason why Elvis felt the help that he had, with some of the pills would get him out of that. He went through a lot. He went through an awful lot. He was a lot was expected of him. A lot of demands were put on him. He didn't know how to deal with it any other way. He really didn't. And he wasn't doing it. He really thought he had it under control.
How did you get yourself to stop taking all the pills?
Because I didn't like the feeling of not being in control.
Mm-hmm.
It scared me. Mm-hmm. Because I was doing things that I wouldn't normally do. Things became exaggerated. Things were much bigger. Problems became much more of a problem. I just didn't like what was happening to me. Plus, the two of us taking it, we were like, two different people with each other.
21 days after, it was like a nightmare for them. That, oh my God, this is bigger than we ever expected.
And we couldn't understand why he kept on calling, but still, it just didn't seem to register,
Well, then we began to get maybe the idea that things were a little bit further along, more serious than what we had thought about in the past.
Elvis and I communicated really when he left Germany by music. He would send me records like Take Good Care of Her, I'll Save the Last Dance for Me, Hey, Hey, Paul, I Want to Marry You One Day, Sealed with a
Lovely
Kiss.
song.
It makes me feel a little more like I'm there with her.
I, in turn, would send him back, I'll Save the Last Dance for You, Soldier Boy. But that's how he communicated. I would always wait in the mail for my 45 to come in.
Maybe we were too naive at that time, but
Just little clips, guys.
This morning, fans from all over the world are preparing to say a final goodbye to Lisa Marie Presley, who died last week after suffering a cardiac arrest. In just days, the only daughter of rock and roll legend Elvis Presley will be remembered during a public memorial service at Graceland, her iconic childhood home in Memphis. After her father's death, Lisa Marie inherited the 8-bedroom mansion, and Graceland soon opened its doors to legions of fans, with more than 20 million visiting so far. In the days since Lisa Marie's death, even more people stopping by to pay their respects. A historic and beloved landmark for so many, but for Lisa Marie, Graceland was home. And Lisa Marie's memorial service will be held here at Graceland on Sunday. It will be open to the public and live streamed. And after the service, everyone will be invited to join the procession to the meditation garden, which will be her final resting place.
She was either going to be a young mother staying home by herself all the time, or she had to get her own life.
So this,
He had just gotten up.
you see that little comment at the end there from Jerry Schilling. It was when I made this video, this short, which was, probably a year ago. It was then when I started thinking, Jerry Schilling is defending Priscilla. He's even defending why she left him. Yeah. And it started making me think, well, hang on a minute. Jerry Schilling has always spoke highly of Elvis, has wrote a lovely book about Elvis. We know that Elvis bought Jerry a house. We know that Jerry met Elvis very young, playing football, yeah? But this gave me a thing of, oh, actually, there's more to Jerry and Priscilla. And I still think, guys, it's a possibility that Jerry and Priscilla had an affair. And I also think that as the years went on, they did some business together. There was money exchanging through Gracelands because Priscilla was the head of everything. So I'm a little bit distrustful of Jerry with Priscilla. Now, I know some of you are going to disagree with that, but seriously, guys, there's more to it. There's more to it.
Garden, which will be her final resting place.
She was either going to be a young mother staying home by herself all the time, or she had to get her own life.
He had just gotten up. I was determined to go in, and believe me, this took everything I possibly could to do. This was the moment I feared. I walked in, and
Hang on 1 second, guys.
he said, I have something to tell you. I just remember looking at his face and him sitting there in disbelief. I don't think he believed what I was saying was true. The first thing he said, is it someone else? Are you leaving me for someone else? There was so much that wasn't said, I couldn't say. It was me growing. It was my needs. There was a lot of pain, because this is You have to remember, I still loved him very much. Still do. That was the hardest thing in my entire life, when you love someone and then have to leave them. But I never would have had a life.
Let me just pause that. Oh, that was the end of that. But I just want to quickly message my son. You know, I'm not convinced by what we've just right, okay. Now the words that she's just said there, you know, it was the hardest decision she'd ever made, and you know, I still loved him, and I knew it was gonna devastate him. You know, she's talking about the day she left him. Yeah. She's being very heartfelt, but we know the ins and outs, guys. This is the thing that she doesn't tell us, is something we know as fans, something she has admitted in well, this is the first affair on page 262 with Steve Peck, but then the second affair, which is the one that was the final, you know, is it the straw that broke the camel's back, whatever the saying is, that she made a beeline for Mike Stone. She spotted him from a distance. I'm gonna get him. I want that man. She fancied this Adonis, this karate champion. Yeah. He had won many competitions. In the karate world, he was very important. Elvis really admired him, saying that he was a badass. And she made up her mind. She can have that man. He was going to be her way away from Elvis, even though this was going to break up two families. Elvis's family with Lisa Marie, Mike Stone's family with his pregnant wife, Frances Stone, and they already had a small girl, a 3-4-year-old small girl. So she sort of, Priscilla in that last clip is like, oh, you know, this was so tough. It was so hard for me to leave him, you know, it was going to be so terrible. No, she had found a man that she fancied, that she wanted to sleep with, shag, whatever. She was going to take her daughter with her, which was Elvis's daughter as well, so break up her own family. And she had secretly been seeing Mike Stone for a year behind Elvis's back. Yeah. Once it all came out, of course, Elvis went crazy, but she was demanding the divorce. Remember this, guys. People don't know this. Priscilla, no matter what, was demanding a divorce. I actually think Elvis, even when he caught her with Mike Stone, would have had her back. A few of you won't like that. It's possible, guys. She was demanding this divorce around the end of 71, beginning of 72. She wasn't giving Elvis a choice. I'm out of here. I'm taking Lisa Marie with her. So when she speaks so sensitively about, oh, you know, this was tough, it was hard. No, she wanted to go off, shag, take her daughter with her, party with Mike Stone, and just make money, get money. She did it. It humiliated Elvis. It went around the world. It was one of probably the most humiliating thing that ever happened to Elvis. Is the Mike Stone affair, because she went around in LA, California, shopping, you name it, with Lisa Marie in tow, and she was even kissing Mike Stone in public. It was a very public affair. It was in all the magazines and tabloids. It was on many of the TV news clips. This was a massive humiliation to Elvis. So when she says in that very touching interview that she's just given there, I don't fall for it, guys. I do not fall for it. Right, we're going to play another video that I put together yesterday. I'm going to play this, and I'm going to have to go because I only have about 18 minutes left. I will try and cut in and comment as we do it. I put this together last night. It is 9 clips, I think. Now, remember, again, guys, I put this together before I became defending Elvis. So some of my views on Priscilla are quite different. We became defending Elvis because of you guys messaging me, telling me off because I needed to do more research. So when I went off and did more research, we started to evolve into defending Elvis. Yeah? So let's go, guys. I think you'll like it, though. I think these are very interesting little clips.
May 1st, 1967, Priscilla walked down that aisle. We called it Elvis's May Day, and I was there. At about 4 in the morning, Elvis and Priscilla went to the Clark County Courthouse, where Elvis paid $15 for a marriage license. Then they drove to the Aladdin Hotel and retired, with the wedding set for early that same morning. There were only 14 people at the actual wedding, but a huge reception and press conference followed, and almost immediately the news was flashed around the world that Elvis Presley had been married. They were the picture of true love. Elvis was the happiest I'd seen him in a long, long time, and it was a dream come true for Priscilla. A 5-foot wedding cake and a massive diamond ring that Elvis's jeweler had flown in from Memphis, and attention like she'd never, ever seen before. Michelle, Priscilla's younger sister, was her maid of honor. Mr. Presley was there, as were Priscilla's parents and family. They all flew back to Palm Springs. Elvis and Priscilla stayed there for a short honeymoon, then settling down to life in...
My parents moved back to the States, and when they wanted to come and visit, they would notify me and say, we want to come by and see you.
We were living at that time in California. Sandy and I were living in the same house with Priscilla and Elvis.
Well, obviously I was staying with Elvis.
Yes.
And I told Charlie, I said, Charlie, my parents are coming to see me, and I need your room. So that when my parents came, I'd say, and this is my room, and they'd look around and they'd go, oh, it's really nice. Where does Elvis stay? I go, oh, he's way back in the other room. And I'd look over and I'd say, this is Sandy's room. So it looked like it wasn't just me, the only girl staying at the house. Sometimes I wonder what my parents were, how naive they were, but they still wanted to believe that this was the way it was.
So I'm just showing clips now.
Elvis's personality was very volatile. He could be anything, actually, at any time. He could be very moody. But one thing that literally stands out is his charm. He had a way of making you feel very special.
Elvis had a good rapport with everybody. I mean, the maids and, of course, all the guys that worked for him and the wives and the kids and whatever, he just handled everybody pretty much the way that it should have been, He just knew how to handle people.
Elvis rarely said he was sorry. Very rarely. But he had ways of making things up to you. And his way of apologizing, was obviously giving gifts, but he would do little special things. Whether it be a look or a hug, or bring you, have you come closer to him and saying really nice things. And it's something that you would kind of live off of. You always wanted that approval from him. When Elvis came into my life, they didn't know what to do with it. This was bigger than they could ever imagine.
He was so polite and so charming. I mean, it was just like everything was sir and ma'am and all that.
That's the way I was brought up. My surroundings, my mother and my father, and I'm proud of the way that I was brought up to believe and to treat people. I've always treated people just like I would like to be treated.
He was a good old Southern boy, and that was the attraction.
Well, he impressed me because he seemed like a genuine person.
Now, knowing Elvis, it all kind of fits in place, and why, I was a girl who spoke English. We had a lot in common. It's just funny how we kind of we had something in common other than rock and roll. So maybe he saw a bit of maturity in me and was drawn to that. He didn't know how he was going to be able to go, how he can go back to Graceland, and what it was going to be like. It would never be the same without the presence of his mother there. He was reluctant in even going there.
He was mostly talking about being lonely and missing his mother, and that he wished he could be home with us, and that he was thinking back on the Christmas before when we were all together with his mother.
I feel very fortunate that I got to know him during that time. And I'm sure even before, the death of his mother, he was an entirely different Elvis then, because from stories that were told to me, he was happy-go-lucky. He was, had a wonderful spirit of play. He was just on top of the world. So, I met him right after that had happened, and I saw a very sad Elvis, an Elvis who was very insecure and very unsure of where he was going to, you know.
Let me just pause that quickly. Now, do you see what she says? That she saw a very sad Elvis. Yeah. Obviously, we know, of course, he was heartbroken losing his mother during basic training, and he just made the best of things. Yeah. I mean, I know that, is it Charlie Hodge was with him, and he would hear Elvis crying himself to sleep over his poor mother. This unusually close bond that they had, which doesn't surprise me because of what such a tough upbringing they had in Tupelo. We know about his father went to prison, but I don't agree with what she said, because I think Elvis had some very, very good times in Germany as well. He had a number of different girlfriends, not just Priscilla, who wasn't actually his girlfriend, and was just, Priscilla was just a friend that he'd got close to, that he briefly knew for a matter of months. I don't think Elvis had a really depressing time in Germany. We know that he was worried about his career as an actor, how credible it would become. I think he had made 2 or 3 movies at this point. He was already a worldwide star in Germany. He was the most famous man on the planet. So he was worried that people would forget him. But Colonel Tom Parker made sure that he could never be forgotten. But I don't think he's as miserable as Priscilla makes out. I really don't. I think Elvis had some pretty good times in the army in Germany. Let's keep going, guys.
Where he was going to be when he got back. There's a Southern gentleman who takes care of the woman, and that's it. And Elvis was very much that Southern gentleman. I mean, he believed in that. The woman had her place beside her man, supporting him and doing things for him and agreeing with him. Would always prepare myself before he came home and greet him at the door, all dressed and coiffed.
With a black.
So let me just pause that.
Yeah,
so do you see what she says? We had to know our place. We had to agree with him, do whatever he said. I'm just not convinced, guys. I'm not convinced that she was this little slave that had to do as she was told. But again, this woman that wants to be buried next to Elvis, that keeps saying Elvis is still the love of my life, yeah, that tries to speak highly of Elvis in certain interviews, but then in other interviews makes him out like he was a groomer, a controller. Obviously, we know about the Priscilla film, just how bad that made him look. Priscilla Presley's film, Priscilla, with Sofia Coppola. So I don't believe, when she paints this picture that is, in my opinion, is brainwashing the public. Yeah, we're being spoon-fed lies, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes. We're being misled on the kind of person that Elvis was. Because the more I learn about Elvis, the kinder and more genuine and decent person that I'm starting to understand that he was. Yeah. So when she sort of talks about him like he was this sort of person, do this, do that, do as you're told, I don't believe it. I don't believe it, guys.
And you said, what in the world happened to you? And this is me now. This is me now. I'm your daughter, but I'm my own person.
He didn't want Priscilla walking around the house in a robe and pajamas. Anytime you've got 3, 4 guys living in your house, it's not private.
Because we did have a good relationship. It was just that it had to be his relationship and pretty much adapted to his lifestyle. It was definitely 2 Elvises.
And that was what was great about him. He had every temptation that we all have. He just, in general, chose to be a nice guy.
And he came to the house and he was charming.
But look, hang on, whoa, let me just pause that. Now, do you hear that? Priscilla is there saying that he was controlling and dominant and forced her to do everything. But then Jerry Schilling ends it up by going, he was just a nice guy. It's confusing, guys.
I have faith in him.
What was Elvis Presley like then?
He was insecure. He was, you could talk to him as a person. You knew who he was. You knew his fears. He had, he was so vulnerable. He was gentle. He was fun. He was a person you could really deal with.
Were you mad about him?
Wait. So look, do you see that? Yeah. She speaks so well of him. She really describes him in a beautiful way. But we know the horrible things that she has said about him in many interviews, especially in the 80s. So it doesn't add up. It's chalk and cheese. Yeah. Was he a lovely, good-hearted, kind, generous, caring, sensitive man? Or was he a controlling abuser with the ability to rape, that was a paedophile, that groomed and controlled? It doesn't add up, guys.
Relationship was very different. It was a very protective relationship from the very beginning. I don't know what it was about him, but he kind of took me under his arm and nourished me in many ways.
What is that? Nourished.
37 years ago.
37. It's hard to believe.
He would be 79.
I can't even fathom that number. I can't even fathom that.
Would he be working at 79?
I think he would. I think he would always
Definitely.
sing. It was such a part of him.
Should we let her go? If we don't let her go, what's going to happen? She'll always accuse us of ruining her life.
We had to consider your feelings too.
I said, "You're ruining my life," you know, and it made me think a little bit. And I said, "Please talk to Dad." He was calling a lot, and, you know, it had already been 2 years.
It was hard. It was hard to make a decision when you know that you really don't know what's going on.
There was these continuous calls, and I was just very convincing to my parents and saying, "I'll take good care of her. Please let her come."
You sometimes think that this is it. You'll never find another one, you know.
Remember at that time too, girls and boys were getting married at, say, 17, 18, 19, and 20, and God forbid that a girl should go as old as 25 and not be married.
So let me just pause that. So it's true. I've been saying this all along, guys, that people bring up the fact that people, that teenage girls were marrying men in their 20s. Now, I'm talking about 16 now, yeah? 16, 17, 18, 19. It was completely normal for a teenager, 16 and up, to marry a man in his 20s in the 1950s and 60s, yeah, and 70s. So let's keep going with it.
Parents let me come. I don't think they made a mistake. Who knows? I maybe wouldn't have been married and had the child I have.
Elvis Presley was in the army that you two first met. Could you tell me how that happened, where it was, and what the circumstances were?
Gee, it was, a month after I arrived in Wiesbaden, Germany. I was sitting in a snack bar. It wasn't really a snack bar. It was just a place where a lot of the people would used to go and have hamburgers and Coke.
I'll pause it. Now, remember, we have a completely different description of how they met in this book. Suzanne Finstad's book describes it completely different, that she was not sweet and innocent, was no virgin, that the whole thing was set up with Cary Grant, even the parents involved. There was a big scam to get Elvis, to seduce Elvis. So her description here is like it was an accidental meeting. Somebody, a complete stranger, approached me and asked me if I wanted to meet Elvis. What do we believe, guys? What do we believe?
So whatever. And a gentleman came up to me and asked if I'd like to meet Elvis. And I thought he was kidding and said, "Sure, yeah. All right, now what?" And he says, "No, I'm really serious. I go to his house a lot. And would you like to go?" And I said, I still didn't believe him. And then it was another day that I was there and he was also there. He said, "I'm serious. I told him about you and he'd like to meet you." It sounds very, offbeat, but that's exactly how it happened. And I asked my parents. My parents were very leery. I didn't think, had really checked him out to see if it was okay. And I went, and from that moment on, we started seeing each other.
Who knows, guys? That's it. I think that's it. So I've only got a couple of minutes left, but see, I'm slowly going through all these shorts that I made over the last couple of years. There's a lot. There's thousands. Yeah, I love going through them. It brings back a lot of memories whilst I was making these shorts, because obviously you're piecing together videos, pictures. I've got some editorial in there. Each one took between 4 and 6 hours to make. Sometimes one short would take the whole day, because you're trying to piece the information together. The reason everything's moving around is because I tried to stop YouTube from stopping me from using the different video clips and pictures. And I thought if I moved the symbols around, they wouldn't copyright me. It would seem to have worked. Yeah. As the year goes on, I start talking on them, but we're not quite there yet. So what I'm trying to do from the point of view of defending Elvis, which is what we've become, defending Elvis Presley, fans want the truth. I'm trying to go through these shorts. I'm uploading between 5 and 10 at a time. Yeah, I'm uploading them as longer, so 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I want to review them as we re-upload them with you guys. And now that we're defending Elvis, I see them from a different point of view. Now, before we became defending Elvis, I had a different view on these shorts. So it's interesting to see how now, today, how I feel about these shorts. So I'm probably going to download some more tonight. I don't have any time now to do another live. The daytime live we did today, that was 2.5 hours long, was so long that it's pushed my day forward. So it's kicked out one of my live streams. But I'm so glad we did it because it was a really, really good live. Today's live was one of my favorite. We discussed about the salt tablets. You guys know that I think this thing about salt tablets to make Elvis sweat is ridiculous, and I stand by that. And then the other thing was we were reviewing an Elvis YouTube channel because I felt that this particular channel was telling us to not have opinions about Priscilla and that we are haters because we disagree with Priscilla's behavior towards Elvis. So that particular YouTube channel that we reviewed was doing a book review on this book. It's an amazing book that we love. Lisa Marie's words on tape that have been put into this amazing book by Riley Keough. Now, what bothered me about this particular YouTube channel was we were being called haters, and that she had used the book review to call us names, to tell us off, to talk down to us, to tell us that we can't have opinions about Priscilla's wrongdoing towards Elvis and towards Lisa and the grandkids, you know, Riley, Finley and Harper. So now the review that I did on that channel wasn't to be hateful or to be nasty to the owner of that YouTube channel. It was to show her that she needs to relook at her facts. She needs to do some decent research, and we're trying to educate her with respect from a place of kindness. And what I'm trying to say to that YouTube channel is, please go and relook at how you perceive Priscilla, because it's pretty obvious that that woman is brainwashed by this book to believe that almost that Priscilla could do no wrong. Yeah, many people have been brainwashed by this book, guys. Many people. A book of lies, in my opinion, for entertainment purposes. All of this is for entertainment purposes. So I'm hoping that the YouTube channel, if she watches us now, if you do watch us now, I hope that you just go back, because I actually think your channel is quite a nice channel. I think you seem like a nice person. So I'm hoping that you'll go off, you'll relook at your research, you'll relook at the wrongdoing that happened to Elvis and to Lisa and to the grandkids that's been going on for 50 years, and you'll rethink your channel to be more supportive of Elvis, to be more supportive of Elvis's bloodline. Yeah, and you'll understand that we as fans were able to talk about the wrongdoing of Priscilla towards Elvis and his bloodline without being called haters. It doesn't make us haters. We're just fans that care. We're not doing it to get views. We're not doing it to make money. We're doing it because we have an inner passion. We love and adore Elvis. We have a connection to Elvis, a spiritual connection to Elvis. Once we were touched by Elvis, we've never been the same again. And we are defensive and protective over Elvis and his bloodline. We're not haters. We're not haters. So anyway, guys, I'm going to have to go. I wish I could do a longer live, but I've got to go and get the kids and then make them some dinner. Then we're going to watch a film. My Yasmin's at dancing class. So I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to cut it short, but I'll be back in the morning. I will be back in the morning, guys. So you take care. I send you all love and a nice, cute little quick live stream that we've done. I might, if Serge Delmar comes on later, I'll try and hop on there and check out his live stream if he does one. Serge Delmar, the Scientology channel that talks about the abuse in Scientology. We'll just see if he's there. Take care, guys. Thanks to my brother for joining in. Andreas, my brother, my twin. And I'll see you in the morning, guys. See you in the morning. Take care, everyone. Love you all.